What is up, YouTube? It is the Bill Outdoors here. Today is, what is today? It is September 17th of 2024. We're back at the saltwater once again, if you can imagine that. And the goal today is to try and target exotic species of grouper that get washed up here in the Northeast during the summer months. Once again, they come up the Gulf Stream. So it's similar to my last video where we did some nighttime micro fishing for tropical species of fish. We are going to be looking for tropical groupers here during the daytime. So it's not going to be ideal conditions whatsoever today. We have winds that are definitely not favorable, and it's going to be like that pretty much all day. So we have like east northeast winds with gusts to 19 to low 20 mile per hour, which is not something you would look at and say, oh, I want to go fishing today. But of course that's what we decided we were going to do, because my next off day is Friday, and it looks like there's a good chance for rain here, and I wouldn't be able to have too much enjoyment out of that. So I'd rather deal with a little bit of wind than wind and rain. There's going to be like a storm coming through the next couple of days, so that's the reason we're here today. So we're going to see what we can do. We're just going to be jigging a little bit. So we have a EPF swim. So this is kind of designed by Mr. Extreme Philly Fishing on YouTube, although he doesn't upload too much these days. He helped design this lure with Eurotackle. We have on there a little jig head, and we're just going to be casting up against the various pilings and seawalls that we can find around various boat docks today, seeing if we can find our species of grouper that we were after, because that's where these fish will hide, in high structure areas like pilings and seawalls. So we'll see what we can do. I'm not going to promise a great day of fishing, and I apologize if there's an excess of wind noise, but I'm going to do my best to make the most of the day, because I'd have much better luck catching the grouper species that I'm after actually here at the saltwater than I would sitting home on my couch. So that's the reason I decided to make the drive out here today. I plan to fish till about probably 3:30 or 4 in the afternoon. We'll see how the day goes. Right now it's a little after peak high tide. It's a little after 8 in the morning. Low tide is at 1:50 in the afternoon. So we'll be fishing high and low today, seeing what we can come up with. Hopefully we can get some fish on the board. Well guys, we got our first fish of the day on the sabiki rig. We got a little bluefish, and we just caught another one on the sabiki rig. We're using the little bit heavier duty sabiki rig than what we typically use. That way these bluefish don't bite through our line. I haven't had any luck with the grouper yet, but I'm going to make a little bit of adjustment to my rig. I've been getting some bites. Now there's no telling whether it's a grouper bite or not, but they haven't been connecting with the jig head that I have on. So rather than keep using the jig head I have on, I'm going to switch to a smaller jig head and add a split shot a little bit above it to kind of balance things out. But I just figured I'd play around with the sabiki for a little bit, get the skunk off for the day. Basically what we're doing is just bouncing this up and down off the bottom. There we go. And these are all little bluefish. Usually there's some jacks mixed in as well, but I haven't seen any jacks yet. There we go. So it's 3 fish in like 3 minutes, pretty much. These bluefish are very easy to catch on the sabiki rig, which is why I'm using the one with a little bit thicker line, because they got sharp teeth. Well guys, we got our first jigged fish of the day, but this is a black sea bass. Although they are in the grouper family, it is not the one we're after. This one is the common species you can find around here, the good old black sea bass. Oh, and he's gonna flop back in the water. Trying to slip that up our grip. Look at that, guys, we got one. This is a scamp grouper. This is not a snowy grouper, but a scamp grouper. That is awesome. I'm gonna take a shot of this guy before he gets off, and I'm gonna let him go. Alright guys, apologies for the wind noise, but there's our scamp grouper here. We're gonna go ahead and let him go back in the water. It is such an awesome fish. There he goes. He's gonna go back down to his piling. Awesome sauce. Time to find our snowy grouper now. Well guys, even if our our snowy grouper doesn't show up, that still makes the trip worthwhile. That scamp grouper, that is species number 181 for me. Now my last video where I had an insane night of tropical microfishing here in the Northeast. Oh, dang it, I got snagged. We ended at 179 species, and 180 was off camera, but that was actually feather blenny. So the blenny we caught at the end of the last video was a crested blenny, and shortly after I caught a feather blenny, but I thought it was the same species, so I didn't video it. That's what I meant. So I'll show the picture to you guys now. Basically, we're just jigging off these pilings here with the EPF swim. Getting bites here a lot. There's a fish. Oh, it's a big black sea bass. Oh, he popped off the hook for us. So we're gonna go ahead and let him. There's a fish. It's another black sea bass. Might honestly be the same one we just caught. Similar size. Whew. It's getting windy. There's some birds blowing up on some bait out there. Oh, looks like we got another, oh, black sea bass. There's the second one of these that I jigged up off this piling. Still looking for our snowy grouper. Cross scamp off the list. That was species 181 for us, but we still have another target. There's a fish. Let's see what we got. Nope, and it's another black sea bass. What do you know? Well, these guys are getting a little repetitive, but this is how we catch a grouper. So weed through enough of these, and hopefully one will be the one we're after. There's a fish. And a sea bass. Already had another bite. Yep, there's another bite. Sea bass galore. There he is. Just using a Trout magnet jig head. A 1-inch Eurotackle EPF swim in chartreuse color. Then we have a split shot about 5 or 6 inches above that. That's what's catching all these fish. Now these aren't keeper sized black sea bass by any means, but you know, it'll pass some time jigging up some black sea bass. We don't even have a tail on there right now, but they're still hitting it. Alright, I think we call it a black sea bass to say there's only black sea bass on this piling. Let's move on. Alright guys, we made it to our second spot. For me, this is my third spot, but for you guys, this is only the second spot because I didn't record it the last spot because it did not go my way. I caught a bunch of little black sea bass on a baited sabiki rig with clams, but not the target snowy grouper that we were after. There is some pilings over there with some structure, so I'm going to try and repeat what we did with the Scamp grouper and try and jig up a snowy grouper, but this spot isn't as sheltered from the wind, so that could cause us some problems. So we're gonna go over there and see what we can do. Looks like there's a couple other people fishing, so we'll try not to be in the way too much, but yeah, we'll see. Well, it was not our intended target, but I guess the flash of the sabiki attracted a bluefish. So we have another bluefish on the day. This one's slightly larger than the ones we caught earlier. There we go. Just trying to chomp away at me. Back to the sabiki rig for a little bit. We got ourselves a little bluefish. I was hoping to see some jacks around, but I'm not seeing any jacks today. I don't know if we'll get our snowy grouper to show up, so I'm just trying to see if I can get our species count up for the day. Oh, speaking of species count, we got ourselves an anchovy here. This is a striped anchovy, it looks like. So, another species. He's wedging himself in the dock now. I'll take a shot of this guy. Another species we got here. This is a northern sennet. Go ahead and let him go back in the water. We have sennet number 2 for the day. Another cool looking guy. This one is also not the exotic species. About 1 in every 300 will be a different species of barracuda is what it seems. So that one we're just going to let back in the water. There's like some guanche barracuda or something like that that was found in New Jersey recently. But they are not common by any means. There's another one. There we go. Sennet is unhooked. And he flopped out of our hands. So we're going to go ahead and let him back in the water. That's good to go. Well, switching back to the little jig, and we immediately got ourselves back another black sea bass. So if the sea bass are still here, theoretically the grouper would be here as well. So another black sea bass, we're going to flop him back in the water and we're going to get back to work. Well guys, unfortunately that is going to be doing it for today's episode. Not the longest of videos, but we did still catch half of our target species, being the Scamp grouper that we caught, and we missed out on the snowy grouper, which we didn't even see. So things didn't go exactly as planned today, but we did catch one new species and I can never be disappointed with that. So I'm going to go ahead and call it a good day. We also caught some bluefish, black sea bass, striped anchovy, and northern sennet, in addition to our Scamp grouper. That grouper was species number 181 for me on my life list, so pretty good, pretty good. Apologies for the wind noise that you're going to hear again at this outro. I'm going to turn around so that way it doesn't affect us as much. Yeah, pretty gloomy day, pretty crappy conditions, but we made it work and we got our new species. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. This will likely be the last saltwater video, at least for the month. You know, I have plans to maybe come back here in October, possibly in November, because there's other species that become more active once the water gets a little bit colder, just like there's more species that become more active once it gets warmer. So, you know, there'll be other stuff for us to target here, but this will likely be our last saltwater trip for the month, and then we'll stick local and not do any road trips until October. And I have 2 trips I want to take in October, one to the saltwater, one to try and catch my first northern pike. So that'll be in the cards for next month, but this will likely be our last road trip for this month. So I will be seeing you guys on the next episode of The Ville Outdoors. Once again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Adios.